The problem is not just physical, it is also psychological. The moment a man becomes worried about finishing too soon, that anxiety makes the problem worse. Instead of enjoying the experience, his mind is racing. Will I last? Will I lose control? What if I disappoint my partner? These thoughts trigger the sympathetic nervous system, the same system that responds to stress or danger. This creates a surge of adrenaline and tension, which pushes the body even faster toward climax. In other words, the fear of finishing too early can actually cause it to happen. It is a cycle that many men find themselves trapped in, and the more they try to fight it without understanding, the more frustrating it becomes. Another part of the problem is sensitivity. For some men, the nerves in the penis are highly responsive, and this is not a flaw. It is simply biology. However, when this sensitivity is paired with a lack of control, it becomes overwhelming. Masturbation without awareness reinforces this sensitivity instead of managing it. Imagine touching a hot stove. The reflex is instant, and the hand pulls away without thought. In the same way, the body can develop an automatic reflex to stimulation that feels almost impossible to manage. Recognizing this reflex is key, because once you understand it, you realize that control is not about fighting your body, but about retraining how your body responds. Let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever wished you could control your performance, feel more confident, and last longer without relying on pills or complicated tricks? The truth is, your body already holds the power to do that, and today I want to show you how to unlock it. Sexual health is not just about pleasure. It is a vital part of your confidence, your relationships, and even your long-term physical well-being. Struggling with control or performance can affect your self-esteem, create anxiety, and even strain intimacy with your partner. But here's the good news. By applying a few simple practices before masturbation, you can instantly boost your stamina, feel more in control, and begin to retrain your body for lasting improvement. When we talk about the challenges men face with stamina and control, the very first step is to clearly recognize the problem. For many men, the issue is not that their body is broken or that they are lacking something. It is that their body has developed a certain habit that works against them. This habit often begins early, when masturbation is done quickly and without awareness. A young man may rush the process to avoid being discovered, or he may be focused solely on reaching climax as fast as possible. Over time, this pattern teaches the brain and nervous system to equate arousal with speed and release, instead of with patience and control. The body remembers what it practices, and the more often this pattern is repeated, the more deeply it becomes ingrained. What happens then is that even when a man wants to slow down, his body reacts automatically and too quickly. The consequences of ignoring the problem can be significant. Men who struggle with early release often carry silent frustration. They may avoid intimacy altogether, fearing embarrassment. Their self-esteem suffers, and this frustration can spill over into other areas of life: work performance, mood, relationships with loved ones. Many men quietly blame themselves, thinking they are somehow less capable or less masculine, when in reality, the problem is simply one of conditioning and awareness. Left unaddressed, it does not go away on its own. In fact, it often gets worse with time, because the same habits are repeated again and again, reinforcing the same results. When this problem is not addressed, it begins to ripple out into every part of a man's life. Sexual health is not something separate from the rest of your health. It is deeply connected to how you feel about yourself, how you relate to others, and even how your body functions day to day. When a man constantly feels that he cannot control his performance, the first casualty is his confidence. He starts to doubt himself, not only in intimate moments, but in his identity as a partner and as a man. The doubt can grow into anxiety, and anxiety is like a shadow. It follows you everywhere, from the bedroom to the workplace, to social interactions, and even to how you see yourself in the mirror. By identifying the problem clearly, you give yourself the power to change it. It is not a disease, and it does not define who you are. It is a pattern. And like any pattern, it can be broken and reshaped. Think about how you learned to drive a car. At first, it felt overwhelming. Too many pedals, mirrors, signals to pay attention to. But over time, with practice, your body learned to respond automatically in a calmer, more controlled way. The same principle applies here. Your sexual stamina is not fixed. It is trainable. Once you see the problem for what it truly is, an automatic habit reinforced by years of practice, you can approach it with patience, with strategies, and with confidence that change is possible. The frustration of not lasting as long as you want can easily turn into avoidance. Many men begin to shy away from intimacy altogether, worried that they will disappoint their partner. This avoidance creates distance in relationships. Partners may begin to feel neglected or unwanted, not realizing that the true reason is fear and self-consciousness. Instead of building closeness and trust, intimacy becomes a source of tension and misunderstanding. A man who is otherwise loving and devoted may feel as though he is failing, and the emotional connection he craves begins to fade. Over time, this can cause resentment, arguments, and even the breakdown of relationships. Beyond relationships, the problem also has an impact on mental health. The constant worry of not measuring up creates stress, and stress is not harmless. It increases levels of cortisol, a hormone that in excess interferes with sleep, weakens the immune system, and drains energy. Chronic stress makes you feel tired, irritable, and disconnected from the things you enjoy. When your body and mind are under stress, your performance declines further, creating a vicious cycle. What started as a simple issue of control during sex can spiral into anxiety, low energy, poor sleep, and even depression if ignored for too long. And we cannot forget the physical side. Sexual health is directly connected to cardiovascular health and hormonal balance. When you are constantly anxious about performance, your nervous system stays in a state of overdrive. Your heart rate increases, your blood vessels constrict, and your body functions as if it is under attack. This is not just about sex. It is about the wear and tear this stress places on your entire body. Over the years, unchecked stress and lack of sexual confidence can contribute to more serious health concerns like high blood pressure, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. So what may feel like a small issue in the moment can have long-term consequences if left unaddressed. It is also important to note that this struggle is more common than most men realize because it is not openly talked about. Many believe they are the only ones facing it. That silence deepens the shame and keeps men from seeking help. But when you begin to see that this is not an isolated problem, but a widespread one that can be managed and improved, the weight of shame begins to lift. The truth is that your body can learn, your habits can change, and your confidence can be rebuilt. Another way this impacts daily life is in motivation and productivity. A man who feels confident in his sexual health carries that strength into other areas. He is more focused, more ambitious, and more at ease. On the other hand, A man who constantly doubts himself is distracted by that inner struggle. He may hesitate to pursue new opportunities, avoid social interactions, or feel less driven to take care of his body. Confidence in one area of life often spills into others, and the same is true for insecurity. This is why addressing control and stamina is not just about improving intimacy, it is about improving life as a whole. Recognizing how much this problem touches your mental health, your physical health, your relationships, and your future is the first step toward motivation. You are not just working on lasting longer. You are working on building resilience, restoring balance, and creating a healthier version of yourself. By making changes now, you not only improve your performance, but you protect your long-term health and strengthen your overall quality of life. The encouraging truth is that solutions for this problem do not have to be complicated, expensive, or embarrassing. Many men assume that the only way to last longer is through medication, special sprays, or other artificial aids. While those might provide temporary relief, they never address the deeper issue, the conditioning of the mind and body. The most powerful solutions are often the simplest, and they begin with learning how to naturally retrain your body. One of the first natural approaches is awareness. Most men start stimulation without any preparation, jumping straight into the act. But pausing for even a minute before you begin can change everything. Take a few deep breaths, relax your muscles, and set the intention that this is not about speed, but about control. That mindset shifts your nervous system away from tension and into calmness. Breathing is more powerful than most people realize. When you breathe shallowly or hold your breath, your body enters a stress response and arousal escalates faster than you can manage. But when you take slow, steady breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, you signal safety to your brain. This keeps your heart rate steady, your muscles relaxed, and your sensitivity under control. Some men even use counting as they breathe, such as inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 2, and exhaling for 6. This rhythm anchors the body and creates a natural buffer against the rush of climax. Another natural solution that has been studied by urologists is the start-stop technique. This method is exactly what it sounds like. You begin stimulation, then stop just before reaching the point of no return. You let the sensations decrease, then start again. At first, this may feel frustrating because it requires patience, but with consistent practice, it builds tremendous control. Think of it like lifting weights. You don't gain strength from one workout, but from many repetitions. In the same way, every time you stop and start again, you are training your body to respond differently. Over time, you will find that you can last much longer before needing to pause. Alongside start-stop, there is the squeeze technique. This involves gently applying pressure to the tip of the penis, specifically just below the head, when you feel very close to climax. The pressure interrupts the reflex and decreases arousal, giving you more time. This technique can be practiced during masturbation and later applied during intimacy with a partner. It teaches you that your body can be guided, not just controlled by automatic reactions. Another natural solution lies in relaxation of the pelvic floor. Many men unknowingly keep their pelvic muscles tight, especially when they are anxious. This tension speeds up release. Simple exercises like Kegels, where you contract and release the muscles you would use to stop urination, can strengthen your control, but just as important as contracting is learning to relax those muscles. Practicing deep breathing while relaxing your pelvic floor creates a state of readiness without tension. A warm shower or warm compress before masturbation is another tool that might sound too simple to matter, yet it is very effective. Warmth relaxes blood vessels, loosens muscles, and reduces sensitivity. This makes stimulation feel more balanced and less overwhelming. Pair this with mindful touch, slowing down, paying attention to each sensation instead of rushing, and you begin to transform the entire experience. The key to these natural solutions is not complexity, but consistency. They work because they address the root cause, the body's automatic response. Instead of masking the problem, they teach your nervous system to respond with calmness and control. Over time, these methods build a new pattern, one that allows you to feel confident instead of anxious, steady instead of rushed. The best part is that these solutions require nothing external. No medication, no devices, no secrets you need to hide. They are practices you can do privately in your own time with your own body. That means you are in control of the process, and that sense of empowerment is healing in itself. Every time you practice, you are telling yourself, I have the power to change. And that mindset, combined with the techniques, is what creates real and lasting progress. Now that we have talked about the natural solutions, the real power comes when you begin to apply them in your daily life. Theory is valuable, but action is what transforms habits. Practical tips make this possible because they give you clear steps you can follow, starting today without confusion. One of the simplest and most effective things you can do before masturbation is to use warmth. A warm shower, a warm bath, or even a warm compress placed over the pelvic area for a few minutes helps your muscles relax, reduces tension, and makes the experience less rushed. Relaxed muscles mean better circulation and less sensitivity, which immediately gives you more control. This is not only a physical benefit, but also a psychological one. When you take the time to prepare, you are sending a message to yourself that this is a mindful practice, not a hurried reflex. Mindful touch is also essential. Instead of rushing or using fast, repetitive strokes, practice slowing down. Explore different rhythms, pressures, and sensations. Pay attention to how your body feels and learn to recognize the signals of rising arousal earlier, rather than waiting until you are already at the edge. By noticing these signals sooner, you give yourself more time to adjust, pause, or shift techniques. Think of this as building a dialogue with your own body, where you are listening and responding, not just reacting. Another practical tool is the squeeze technique. When you sense that you are nearing climax, gently press the area just below the head of the penis for a few seconds. This interrupts the reflex that leads to ejaculation, giving you the chance to regain control. Many men are surprised at how quickly this reduces the intensity and allows them to continue. At first, you may need to apply this technique often, but with practice, you will find that your body learns to respond more calmly, and you may not need it as frequently. Breathing is another tip you can put into action right away. Most men do not notice that as they get closer to climax, they hold their breath or breathe in short, shallow bursts. This accelerates arousal and makes it difficult to hold back. By consciously practicing deep breathing throughout the process, you can slow everything down. Try inhaling deeply through your nose, holding it gently for a moment, and then exhaling slowly through your mouth. This rhythm grounds you in the present moment. If you feel your excitement rising too quickly, double down on slow, controlled breaths, and you will notice that the urgency begins to fade. Lastly, remind yourself that progress takes practice. Do not expect perfection after trying these tips once. Instead, Focus on consistency. Every time you slow down, breathe, squeeze, or pause, you are retraining your body. These small steps add up, and with patience, you will notice that control becomes second nature. Another tip is to incorporate relaxation rituals into your routine. For example, set aside a quiet, private space where you will not be rushed or interrupted. Dim the lights, play calming music if you like, and treat the practice as an opportunity to connect with your body, not just as a release. The calmer and more comfortable you feel, the more control you will have. If your environment is full of distractions, or if you feel stressed, you will automatically rush and the old habits will repeat themselves. You can also use the start-stop method as a daily exercise. Begin stimulation, and when you feel yourself getting close, stop. Let your arousal fade, breathe deeply, and start again. Repeat this several times before allowing yourself to climax. This practice is like training a muscle. The more often you repeat it, the stronger your control becomes. Over time, you will notice that you naturally last longer, even without consciously trying. Consistency is the bridge between knowing what to do and actually experiencing results. When it comes to building stamina and control, practicing once or twice will not be enough to change the deep patterns your body has learned over years. Just like building muscle in the gym or learning a new skill, repetition is what trains your nervous system to respond differently. Every time you practice the breathing techniques, the start-stop method, or mindful touch, you are laying down new pathways in your brain and body. At first, these pathways are faint, like trails in a field of tall grass. But the more often you walk those trails, the clearer and stronger they become. Consistency transforms those faint trails into solid roads, making control and confidence your natural default. One of the most important things to understand is that consistency is not about being perfect every time. It is about showing up and practicing, even when it feels awkward or you don't notice immediate results. Many men give up too soon because they expect instant change. But just as no one gains muscle after one workout, no one gains lasting stamina after one practice session. The key is to keep going, trusting that each effort builds upon the last. This mindset not only improves performance, but also builds patience and resilience, qualities that serve you in every part of life. Consistency also means treating this practice as part of your overall health routine. Just as you would not skip brushing your teeth or eating meals, you should not skip the small daily habits that strengthen your control. Set aside time, even if it is only a few minutes, to practice breathing, pelvic floor relaxation, or the start-stop method. Over time, these practices become as natural as tying your shoes. They no longer feel like tasks, but like part of who you are. Consistency also builds confidence. Every time you practice and see even a small improvement, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of change. That belief becomes a powerful motivator. Confidence is not born from perfection. It is born from persistence. When you know you are consistently putting in the effort, you carry yourself differently. You begin to trust your body, and that trust reduces anxiety, which further improves performance. Another aspect of consistency is patience with setbacks. There may be times when you lose control faster than you wanted, and that is completely normal. Instead of seeing it as failure, view it as part of the process. Each setback is an opportunity to learn more about your body's signals. Ask yourself, did I forget to breathe? Was I too tense? Did I rush? Reflecting on these questions helps you adjust and improve the next time. Progress is rarely a straight line. It is built through small steps forward, occasional steps back, and the courage to keep moving. What makes consistency even more powerful is when it is paired with other healthy lifestyle choices. Exercise, for example, improves blood circulation, reduces stress, and strengthens your pelvic floor muscles. A man who exercises regularly will notice not only better stamina but also higher energy and improved mood. Nutrition plays a role too. Foods rich in zinc, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids support hormonal balance and nervous system health. Sleep is another crucial factor. Without adequate rest, your body is in a constant state of stress, making it harder to control arousal. By consistently supporting your health in these ways, you create the perfect foundation for sexual stamina to thrive. Lasting longer is not just a technique, it is a skill. And like all skills, it is learned over time. Think of an athlete. No one expects a runner to set a world record the first time he laces up his shoes. He trains, practices, learns from mistakes, and builds endurance gradually. The same principle applies here. Each practice session is like a workout for your nervous system. With patience and repetition, you build endurance, and what once felt impossible becomes natural. When you approach it with this mindset, the frustration turns into motivation. Instead of asking, "Why can't I do this yet?" you begin to say, "I am improving every time I practice." That shift in perspective makes all the difference. Finally, consistency leads to long-term results. The goal is not just to last longer during masturbation or intimacy, but to create a lifestyle of control, awareness, and balance. By practicing regularly, you are not only improving your sexual health, but also cultivating habits that reduce stress, increase vitality, and strengthen relationships. Control becomes something you embody, not something you chase. And that transformation is only possible when you commit to showing up day after day with patience and dedication. Progress in this journey is not about reaching some magical finish line where everything suddenly becomes perfect. It is about celebrating growth step by step and realizing that every effort you make is shaping a stronger, more confident version of yourself. Too often, men focus only on what they cannot do, on the times they lose control, or on the mistakes they make. But what truly matters is the choice to keep trying. Every breath you take before climax, every pause you make to reset, every time you slow down instead of rushing, you are proving to yourself that change is possible. These are victories, and they deserve recognition. It is also essential to remind yourself that you are not alone. Countless men face the same challenge, even if they do not talk about it openly. There is no shame in this struggle, only an opportunity for growth. When you approach the process with compassion for yourself instead of judgment, you create the space for real improvement. Be patient with your progress and treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a close friend. Self-compassion keeps you motivated when the road feels long. Motivation also comes from remembering why you are doing this. It is not just about performance in the moment. It is about how you feel in your own skin. It is about reclaiming confidence, reducing anxiety, and strengthening intimacy with your partner. Imagine how it feels to go into an intimate experience, calm, steady, and self-assured. Imagine being able to focus on pleasure, connection, and closeness, rather than being stuck in fear or embarrassment. This vision is not just a dream, it is the reward that consistent effort brings. Keeping this bigger picture in mind will fuel you on the days when progress feels slow. Another powerful takeaway is understanding that control is not about fighting your body. Many men think They need to force themselves to hold back, clenching every muscle in a desperate attempt to delay release. That tension actually makes things worse. Real control is about relaxation, awareness, and patience. It is about working with your body, not against it. When you learn to stay calm, to breathe, and to listen to your body's signals, control becomes effortless. This is why practicing techniques like mindful touch and deep breathing is so important. They teach you how to stay present rather than trying to overpower yourself.